Okay. I have 6 o'clock, and we will call the BMIA meeting to order. We have Pastor Jesse Crawford from the Restore Church here, who's going to come up to the podium and lead us in the invocation.
Well, let's pray.
Yes.
God, I thank you for the leaders in this community. I thank you that they have opportunity to make decisions. I pray that you give them wisdom, counsel, and guidance as this community moves forward. I pray that tonight is a very productive and helpful meeting, and that you just bless the whole process, bless each individual here, and really every person within the community of Blanchard. And so we thank you for all you've done, all you're going to do, and thank you for this great weather. In Jesus' name, amen.
Our pledge will be led by Christina Short.
I pledge allegiance
to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Scott, will you please take roll, please?
Ben Witt,
What's left of me?
Brandon Alley,
Yes.
Christina Short,
yes.
Chuck Kemper,
Yes.
and Michael Scalf.
Yes.
We have a quorum.
Item B1 on the agenda is discussion and possible action update on the OWRB funded improvements. Our city engineer is recuperating from knee surgery, so was unable to hobble in. So David, would you want to, have anything you want to share with us on that? I know with the red, white, and blue towers coming along.
Yes, the red, white, and blue tower is now refilled. I'll pull my first back tee in the morning, and then we'll do the next one, get 2 consecutives, and we'll be able to get that turned back on and put back in use as soon as they get those 2 back tees. The force main is complete. They're going back around. Doing some dressing up some areas where it had washed from the rain. Effluent has been inspected. It's finished, so that should take care of the end of our consent order that we had. Is there anything else I'm missing, Dustin? The fire plug has been moved over on 3rd Street. They kind of stopped, so we extended it on down a little bit. That was put in and covered up today, so I'm sure they'll charge that probably tomorrow. Probably start flushing and get the back tees on it, and that will be, project will be pretty much completed.
Good deal. So we got our force main part done before get the lift station ready. Right.
Well, they're working on it.
Have any other questions for Mr. Standridge?
The force main, they've completely done with them.
Yes.
Pressure tested and everything.
Pressure tested, everything's completed. Like I said, they're just doing some dress up here and there.
We anticipate having closeout documents, bonds, et cetera, in time for June June BMIA acceptance.
Is it possible, I think the answer is yes, but can we get a priority list or an updated priority list? We haven't seen one in a while. Just want to make sure it's all still the same.
Yeah, I was going to ask that too.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Mr. Kemper prior to the meeting. The 17 projects that are on the OWRB list, I've offered and will place in my report for next month the 17 projects by project number and where we sit on each of those. They do show up in the spreadsheet when we have the spreadsheet most months. I didn't include the spreadsheet this month because there was no change to it from the one that was dated March 31st. We will we will have another spreadsheet next month, and I will make sure that my report includes all 17 items, and I'll try to do that, say, once every 6 months or so, so that it's not a 6-page report every time, and we continue to focus on the things that are changing, but
That's fair.
we can do that, and I hope that might alleviate some concerns.
Item B2 is discussion and possible action on the adoption of Resolution 2026-14 BMIA for the, to approve an application to ODEQ for the extension of the sanitary sewer for the Academy Blanchard project.
Cedar Creek has submitted plans for the sanitary sewer to serve their site and a temporary water line to serve their site, which would be a part of their full water line system, but not include the 1,500 feet that's going to create the additional volume and pressure that they're going to need for their buildings once they build out, but they're going to be in temporary buildings this fall, and this will be faster and easier for them to get done, and it'll be something that they can plug into to create the rest of that. It was not ideal, and Mr. Coleman and I have been in discussions, and we think that the right thing to do at this point is just to say that we are not going to issue any building permits on the permanent buildings until that 1,500-foot line is installed, because there's no way they're going to be able to get the requisite volume and pressure through one 6-inch dead-end line to take care of the fire suppression needs for that whole school and the use needs for that school. The sanitary sewer, we do have some comments on the set of plans, and we're waiting on Mr. Sullivan's comments on his plans, but they are close enough that we feel that it's appropriate to do a conditional approval and then just allow staff to say, okay, we've got this to good enough a spot, and then we can have the mayor or the city manager sign off on that so that it doesn't have to wait another month before they get that. Are there any questions on this project?
Yeah. So they're bringing temporary portable buildings in?
They intend to. I haven't seen any permit documents for it.
Are those going to have to be sprinkled?
That will depend on the size and occupancy classification per International Building Code standards.
I'm wondering, is that 6-inch going to be big enough if they have to sprinkle to feed that or not?
My guess is that the sizing for sprinkling will be the determining factor of how big of buildings that they'll bring in, rather than the other way around. They'll probably bring in multiple smaller buildings so that the occupancy is not high enough that they have to sprinkle. But that's a supposition on my part. If they have to have if it has to be sprinkled, then they have to figure out how to make sure that they have adequate volume and pressure for that.
Yeah, okay, that was my questions.
Any other questions?
That application.
Again, I would request that the council do a conditional approval on that, just so that they know that it still has to be, staff review has to be done, rather than blanket approval.
By Councilor Witt.
Ben Witt? Christina Short? Brandon Alley?
Yes.
Chuck Kemper?
Yes.
And Michael Scout?
All right, item B3 is the resolution 2026-15 VM, and it's approving the application to ODEQ for the extension of the water line in the vicinity of 10th and Prince Street, West 10th and Morgan Avenue.
In a very similar fashion, we received plans from Glenn Sullivan and Associates for this water line. We submitted comments back to them. We are awaiting new plans. We expect to receive those in the next week and a full material quantity. As a reminder for this project, the city has entered into a development agreement where we're paying for the engineering, and we're force majeure installing the line, but boring and materials are to be paid for by the developer. We expect new plans and full material quantities later this week. We recommend conditional approval on this one as well.
Questions for Mr. Downey?
Christina Short. Brandon Alley.
Yes.
Ben Witt. Chuck Kemper.
Yes.
And Michael Scout.
Yes. Item B5 is Resolution 2026-17BM.
Item 4.
Number 4?
Item B4.
That's right. That's splitting my pages here between, that's why I wrote down my notes. So yeah, 2016 is accepting the infrastructure improvements, 2016 BM to the water treatment plant seasonal discharge. So yeah. Wraps over pages, and so I put my notes in the wrong place.
Mr. Standridge made some comments about this project earlier. We've received a certificate of completion. We actually received it today from Glenn Sullivan and Associates. This does knock out the consent order. DEQ has inspected and recommended approval of this. This allows us to get that online. Yes, we do have VFDs that we need to buy and install in the future, but this allows this discharge to go out and work, and we can accept this project and share it to DEQ that we've done the work we promised to do.
If I remember right, the seasonal discharge doesn't really apply until what, October, November?
That's correct.
So moved.
Ben Witt.
Yes, ma'am.
Brandon Alley.
Yes.
Christina Short. Chuck Kemper.
Yes.
And Michael Scout.
All right, B5, take 2. Resolution 2026-17BM. Discuss and take possible action on the DEQ approving application to DEQ for the domestic water lines in Phase 1 of Bridgesong development.
Yeah, this is water and sanitary sewer. It's in conjunction with the other development pieces that are Bridgesong Phase 1. We've been looking at these for quite some time, had multiple back and forths with their engineer. The last submission that they had, we have exactly one change that we're asking for on the paving plans themselves were 28 pages. So if you think about paving, stormwater, sewer, and water, that was a book full of plans. We have one change that we're asking for on the water line. We recommend conditional approval just because we want to get that put together on the plans, but we anticipate that that's going to be sent off to ODEQ in the soon-to-come days.
Ben Witt,
Yes, ma'am.
Christina Short. Yes. Brandon Alley,
Yes.
Chuck Kemper.
Yes.
And Michael Scout.
Yes. All right, item B6 is Resolution 2026-18 BM, which is the BMA approving the application for the equipment grant through the ORWA.
Do you? I don't have enough information to speak on this one.
And we wanted to apply for a grant for it's called the Cube sewer camera. It's actually a crawler camera. We have a push camera, but it's very limited use. Lines and figure out where any I&I is, or any breaks, or, just try to do some upkeep and preventive maintenance on some of our sewer lines.
This grant is a reimbursement grant, so we would have to pay for the item, and then ORWA would reimburse us for that.
100% reimbursement?
It's an 80/20.
80/20.
Okay.
How long does that reimbursement generally
Once we got the right pictures to them, it took us about 3 to 4 weeks to get them. They really just want pictures to see them in the field.
really bought what you said you bought?
Yes, exactly.
That 114,000, is that a number they came up with, or is that what we're estimating we need?
That's what I got quotes.
There's a quote in the,
Yeah, I saw it, I just want to make sure.
I had like 3 quotes in,
They're just going to give it whatever we ask for if they grant it to us.
it says up to $100,000.
Up to 100,000, so anything above that would be on us.
Right, it's an 80/20.
Do we have money for this, or we're going to have to budget mod?
Send it out, we'll determine. I don't know if this is going to be a July 1 application due date, or if it's before, no, we will have to do a budget modification.
This particular tool is very important for us to fulfill our mission to maintain our sanitary sewer lines. And OMAG is changing the rules on all of that for the cities. And so this is a step in the right direction to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to.
I've seen one of these used before, they're handy to have. Make the motion, we approve this.
Brandon Alley,
Yes.
Ben Witt,
Yes, ma'am.
Christine Short.
Yes.
Chuck Kemper.
Yep.
And Michael Scout.
Yes. Item B7 is the MIA capital improvement projects update. Mr. Downey, go.
We've spoken about a few of the items already in agenda item 1, which I won't rehash any of those, but I will mention that the 70th Street water line, we received revised water line plans earlier today from Glenn Sullivan and Associates. Anticipate having a re-review by our staff as quickly as possible so that we can get material and bores correct to be bid. We asked because a number of the people that are being contacted as part of the easement acquisition program, which the easement acquisition is progressing. We've received one signed easement where we have understandings with several others, but several of them are asking for connection to water line. We want to make as few punches in that 16-inch hole as possible. So we have asked in our last revision request to Mr. Sullivan that we have 16 by 16 by 6 tees at every half-mile section, so that every 2,600 feet, there is a 6-inch stub out that we can tie a 6-inch line along the side of, so that they can come in and tie onto that, so they're not tying onto that 16-inch big line. So as part of that, I've asked for a unit pricing for 6-inch PVC material for the ones that are inside city limits that we're going to immediately be able to provide water service for. A handful of those that are requesting water are outside the city limits. We have mentioned to them that outside city limits is currently in a moratorium at this point. We've said we're willing to enter into some form of an agreement where we would do that when the moratorium is lifted, or that they may wish to annex. There are a couple of people that are interested in annexing, but at this point, I think we're a little premature to see applications for that. But we're making progress on the easement acquisition. We had people out there staking today. We anticipate final acceptance for the red, white, and blue tower and the force main project. And yes, not only do we have the force main in before their lift station is in, we have the force main in before their lift station is to DEQ for approval. So good for us on that. We expect that permanent extension for the Academy of Blanchard's water line will come soon. I don't know if it'll be soon enough to see on June. More than likely, it'll be July. And then as far as the CDBG project goes, we are anticipating that testing, bonds, final inspections, recommendations for approval, they're going to race to try and get it done for June acceptance. I'd say July is more likely, but they are, they've got sod in, they've fixed the asphalt, and I did want to also mention there is one piece of equipment that is still on the property over there that's next to the fire station. They are using that piece of equipment tomorrow out here on this new piece of water line, and then they're removing it from town. So it will not be here for May days. I believe that concludes my comments on what has been a very busy month of projects. Are there any questions from the trustees?
We had approved back to 70th Street water line equipment rental back in December. That's still valid. We're going to have to redo all that.
Downey, do you have a number off the top of your head as to how many different property owners that we're dealing with to get easements?
22.
22?
I believe it's 21 different owners, but 22 easements, yes. We have one signed. We have agreements with at least 7 or 8 more, and the others are, most of the others are pending water, or pending agreements on water.
Any other questions for Mr. Downey? Seeing there is none. Next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. Involves items 1 through 5. Does anyone have any items in the consent agenda that would like to have removed for discussion? Mr. Witt.
Number 1.
Others?
Okay. I'll second.
Kemper?
Jim Witt? Christina Short?
Yes.
Chuck Kemper?
Yes.
Brandon Alley?
Yes.
And Michael Scout?
Yes. All right. Under item D, we have item 1 that was pulled for discussion on the. That's the one I was
Copies.
have to probably defer that to our June agenda then. Okay, so we will.
Just no action and bring it back. No reason to table it or anything.
In June. Lieutenant Humphreys, would you check to see if anyone, I always wait and do that to put you on the spot.
Like he sits where he sits. Let me check that for you.
All right. Any public comments under the BMIA? Are there any staff or trustee comments referencing the BMIA?
Would like to compliment Stan Rich's group. They got the discharge portion of the aerated concrete something or another done in a expeditious manner. It looks great out there. DEQ was out last week to look at it.
All right. No other comments? It is 6:27, and we will adjourn the BMIA. At 6:27, we will call the city council meeting to order. Ms. Scott, will you roll again, please?
Brandon Alley?
Yes.
Jim Witt? Christina Short? Chuck Kemper?
Yes.
And Michael Scout?
Yes.
We have a quorum.
Okay. Item B1 is discussion and possible action on adoption of Resolution 2026-88, CC, on the agreement between the Special Counsel Services with the Public Finance Law Group in connection to the proposed renewal of the sales tax election.
Counselors, Mr. Ellis was unable to be with us tonight, but this is a standard agreement to engage them to help us, should the council so choose, to properly write ordinances and ballot language related to
Have any questions?
And you have experience with them as well, don't you?
Yes, I've used this group several times.
Them on all 3 TIFs in previous tax election. Need a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Jim Witt? Brandon Alley? Christina Short? Chuck Kemper?
Yes.
And Michael Scout?
Yes.
There's a reason why I'm keeping cough drops up here.
Everybody's keeping.
Don't you get so down my throat.
I can't speak.
All right, item B2 is discussion of possible action on adoption of Resolution 2689CC on the renewal of the property insurance policy with OMAG.
Mayor, members of the City Council, OMAG is our liability insurance provider. It's an insurance pool that consists mostly of city governments in the state of Oklahoma. This is our historic go-to for this type of insurance. Ms. Scott worked closely with OMAG this year to update our property schedule.
It looks much better than it has in previous years.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Yes, I did on a couple of specific ones. I got a copy of that spreadsheet here. Get back to my highlights. Was somewhat curious or concerned why the premiums for fire station number 2 was so excessive compared to everything else. No, let's see, page number. Next to last, I think. Yeah, next to last. Premium on $93.
Assessing the replacement value. Does seem like a lot, though.
I was going to say out of everything else,
Well, so,
Thousand.
On one,
$1 million. Well, let's put it this way, the city hall is,
so
the city hall is 1.2 million valued, and it's,
you're saying equipment,
there's equipment in that building.
the equipment,
So that premium includes fire equipment, apparatus?
well, fire station number 1 is nowhere near that now. It's not obviously a newer
That's a lift station. Oh, here it is. 114 South Main. It's $4,665. The building value is $1.1
The
million.
difference between a brand new one and,
Which includes equipment as well.
same value, same building value.
Yeah.
So, and,
I mean, we're
we
storing
keep
more
on
equipment at
fire
two.
fire station.
Yeah, so I'm looking really quick
Fire station 1 is a 1.1 building value, and content value is 117,000. And building 2 is less than fire station 1, and it has only 163,000 contents value. That one's 4,000, and the other one's almost 12.
So I would posit that it has something to do because one's a newer building.
Policy is not a replacement value.
Replacement value.
Pay out based on replacement. They do this for us, and half the city, if not more, half Oklahoma.
With having them just verifying, or just verifying that?
I can go one better, I can have them come to the June meeting and talk if you'd like. That way they can answer questions.
Kind of asking, because we didn't get a chance to talk about this beforehand, but I think it did have a significant increase in the.
Much higher, yes.
Side.
And the two things that OMAG looks at is our premiums getting paid, they put it in their trust and so forth and move forward. But typically, they're going to ask for an appraisal after an event. So it behooves us and them to have a list of everything, what buildings have more equipment than others, those kinds of things. When it comes down to an actual, claim, they're going to require an appraisal. regardless of what we put on this sheet of paper. And, some places will just put, hey, we bought this piece of equipment for $500, it gets replaced for $30,000, because they look at the time of the incident. They'll look at similar models, makes of police, especially police cars, and, that has damage and things like that. They'll look at what claims have been paid that year as part of that process. So what we put on this paper is just us making sure that OMAG, can be in the future to help protect cities and towns in Oklahoma. It's a placement as as required for insurance. I suspect that they changed Fire Station 2 because of its age and did not make any changes to Fire Station 1, is what I'm believing. Based on the number, that's the same number as it was the last enrollment.
It's not the valuation that he's concerned about, he's concerned about the premium.
But they base the valuation on the premium on top of some other issues. And we can have them take a look at that one, but for the most part, they came in and did a site review of every building in Blanchard.
The rest of the councilors think that.
When is the policy premium due?
This one
End of
is
July.
July.
It's good for July 1. We typically have this for this meeting just so we can stick it into the budget if there's any major changes. So we can certainly wait till July 1.
The motion is tabled.
Can did we add some extra properties or premiums going up 20%, just that?
Added,
25%?
Scott can better iterate.
We added some properties that had not been listed on there that should have been listed. Furthermore, we had lift stations listed at $200,000 when they're about $800,000.
All right, so the 25% increase isn't a true number,
No,
going from
it's,
80,000 to 100,000 in premium.
Because there are more things insured.
Right, yeah.
And use these numbers as preliminary for the budget. We have to change that. We already have that number in for the budget for middle of next month.
The new numbers are already in the proposed budget, but if there are any changes, yes, I will have to get them sooner so we can show those if they change.
No, just a motion to table.
Motion to table, and you second that, but Councilor Witt will second. Table.
okay. Brandon Alley,
Yes.
Ian Witt, Christina Short, Chuck Kemper.
Yes.
And Michael Scow.
Yes. Item B3 is discussion and action, possible action on Resolution 2026-90CC for the approval of change order for the CDBG downtown water line project.
Members of the council, this is change order number 6 on this project.
It was a lucky 7.
The next one is final approval of the project. This is, as it's shown, a no-cost change order. It adds, and it was discussed in the BMIA meeting, 300 feet of 8-inch water line on Southwest 3rd and relocation of the hydrant so that there's not 2 hydrants on one lady's property and no hydrants on Tyler. This seemed like a win-win there. They offset the additional 300 feet of 8-inch water line and the relocation of the hydrant by changing the spec for asphalt replacement in the parking lot in the parking lots on Main Street where they had to dig out. The original plans had a 8-inch concrete subgrade with a very large amount of rebar in it. They removed the asphalt and went with 3/4-inch crusher run underneath that. Generally, that spec is for when you're underneath driving lanes with heavy vehicles going over the top and you're doing patches, you do that. We don't anticipate there being as much driving or as much heavy equipment there in the parking lot area, so we think that'll be acceptable and an anticipated decrease in the actual field quantity on sod. Obviously, at this point, due to the push to get this project complete and holes covered up for prior to May days, they have installed asphalt with the changed specification, and they have installed that other water line, but this memorializes that change. Are there any questions from the council on this change order?
Not very often you see a change order.
That was a requirement. We said, we're going to do this. If you can't figure out how to make it no cost, we're not going to do it.
Try to negotiate that more often.
There are some things that we've been able to negotiate, and we actually negotiated lower totals on the change orders for 4 and 5. Am I correct, Mr. Standridge? Yes. We have been working very diligently to make sure that this project has not gone off the rails in terms of cost.
Good. No further questions? Entertain a motion?
So move it. Okay. I'll second it.
He'll have his finger up quicker.
In his finger.
Christina Short. Ben Witt. Brandon Alley.
Yes.
Chuck Kemper.
Yes, ma'am.
And Michael Scout.
I happen to be looking for it. So. Okay. Item B4 is discussion and possible action on Resolution 2026-91-C, accepting the section line road future phases existing condition and project prioritization report.
In your packets, you received a 3-page spread. Walk through that very briefly, and Ms. Liz Hazard with Aguirre and Fields is also here if there are questions. Generally speaking, we knew that there were 24 segments of section line road that had not been addressed by phases 1 and 2 of the project. We asked Aguirre and Fields to take a look at the existing conditions for us. We did average daily traffic counts, and the future ADT number that you can see about in the middle of the page, going from left to right, is the spring 2026 ADT numbers plus known developments, things that have turned in paperwork to the city for development. For example, Bridge Song, Walnut Creek Estates Phase 3, Villas at Settlers Crossing. We used a scientific calculation based on number of rooftops, number of trips that each rooftop generates per day, to create a future ADT so that we're looking at it with what we know is going to happen. It doesn't anticipate the things that are likely to happen in the future, and we haven't seen paperwork on them, but it does give us that so that we have something that we can base in fact and number. And then in the column next to that, it's ranked in most traffic to least traffic, obviously the most traffic being that section of 10th Street there, which is about halfway down the page. The next column over is the existing condition score. Your second page shows how the score was determined, and the raw scores are on the third page. Then they are ranked from 1 being the worst existing condition to 24 being the best existing condition. Use those two with the weighted average to get your ranks there, and then it's prioritized, or the proposed priority would be the top of the page is the most necessary for work now, and then we'll move down the line to the least, the least priority, which all of these are priority roads. We know that the people voted for all of these roads to be fixed. Then the next thing that we asked them to do was to provide estimated construction cost, opinion of probable construction cost. We received a recommendation from Aguirre and Fields, which in most of these cases was full replacement of the roads, including replacement of subgrade and widening to meet the City of Blanchard's adopted spec, which is appropriate. If we have an adopted spec, we should, that's where we should start from. We saw those numbers, we talked about those numbers. We figured that might give this council a little bit of sticker shock. So what we are working with Aguirre and Fields to do is to find the areas where, because of vertical alignment, because of floodplain issues, because of drainage issues, because of any number of things, that is the most important for us to make those changes, to say, these streets or these portions of these streets, we really need to do this full replacement. We really need to do these drainage issues, resolve these. And then in the places where we can look at moving back towards something that's more similar to what we've done with our previous roads, we can.
Deep patch.
The deep patch and overlay, or even a mill and overlay. We can evaluate what those would be and then bring something to the council and say, we started with this number and then this is what we really think we're gonna need to do to be the best stewards of our citizens' taxpayer dollars and to make sure that we're putting roads in that will stand the test of time.
On the spreadsheet, is that project ID number, is that the number of the original?
No, that project ID number, I listed them all out basically alphabetically when I first handed them over to Aguirre and Fields, and they were using that ID number throughout the reports. So I can provide to you what the original priority numbers are, but it's not on this table.
That might be handy to hand in order to justify or explain why we're doing one versus what we planned on at that time with the ad hoc committee.
Sure.
3 years ago.
Sure, and I know that, for instance, Northeast 25th and that section of North Rockwell that are shown in the top 4 up there were not in the top group 5 years ago when we did this. But last spring, Mr. Bratcher's not here, but last spring, Mr. Bratcher had to keep 25th from caving in 3 times because of the rain.
I'll testify to that because I saw that.
There's been some condition changes, there's been some daily traffic changes. We've got new data, we want to make sure that we're using science to back this information up. And I thank you guys for the time and the resources that we've used to put this together, to give something to you that we feel is going to be helpful in making decisions in the future.
I know that feedback we've gotten and so forth, that priority number 2 on 70th Street is should and is expected to be 1 or 2 in our next, when we address streets. But that being said, with us getting ready to put a 16-inch water line down that road, we can't afford to go in and resurface those roads until that water line's installed with all that equipment going up and down the road and working.
Absolutely, and with the existing conditions of the ones that are at the top, I would expect that most of those at the very top are going to be ones that we're going to end up coming back and saying that deep patch and overlay is not the answer on them. So that means that we'll have to go to full engineering documents, we'll have to go to that kind of stuff, and it's going to take a while before we bid roads.
Well, we, based on the price of petroleum right now, it would not be prudent on our part to approve any road projects until it gets back down to something reasonable, because that first contract that we let was $1,083,000 a mile that we spent. And the second phase was 700 and something. 780. Yeah. And the ad hoc road committee budgeted at 600,000 and went out and asked the public for that penny tax. So there's been a lot of volatility on that. I hate to even see what the estimate of what it would be right now to completely do those roads based on where it's at right now.
I don't want to speak for Aguirre and Fields, but I find it very difficult to think that any of these sections we'd be able to do at $600,000 a mile. I just don't think you can get the material for it.
Yeah, so, but we couldn't even begin to address any of that until we get our 26, 27 budget approved and know what we have in that road tax account to be able to. We borrowed the initial money up front, which we depleted most of that, and it's also kept us from building that account that much because we're paying back the service on that original loan. Okay.
Are there any other questions for either Mrs. Hazard or myself?
I want to take your copy, but I can get one.
I can print another one for me. This just says my notes.
That's for the one that doesn't require glasses. Anyway.
I can make spectacle of myself.
Anyway, any other questions for Mr. Downey? If not, I accept the report.
So moved. Yeah, I thought we were going to wait for the, we'll have to work on the report, right?
It's just setting up,
Do we need to accept it?
that is what his agenda item says, to accept that report. It doesn't mean that we'll be doing anything, it's just accepting the report.
Okay, so moved.
With the priorities.
Second.
Ben Witt? Christina Short?
Yes.
Brandon Howley?
Yes.
Chuck Kemper?
Yes.
And Michael Scout.
Right. Item B5 is discussion and possible action on Resolution 2026-92CC on the accepting certain donations and amending our current fiscal year budget. Okay.
So essentially, we have received donations, more or less, due to the incident that happened in January down in the Winter Creek. Charlie and his crew assisted at great lengths in helping with control and roads and evacuations. And I don't know if there's anything else you have to add to that. And in response, Grady County provided a donation for our help since it was in Grady County area, and the oil company, the gas company that was responsible also provided a donation. So this resolution accepts the money for that. I think, is the shipping containers on the agenda? No. So there is a purpose for what to use that money for, and that will come later. And then there was a couple, one anonymous donation that was given to us earlier, and then another donation came with that. So this just amends the current 2026 budget to accept the donation.
That increase was, what, $12,210 total donation?
Yes.
Or was it just a gift?
No, coming and helping us.
That was my only question.
Thank you, Council.
Questions? Would entertain a motion.
Second.
Ben Witt? Brandon Alley?
Yes.
Christina Short? Chuck Kimber.
Yes.
And Michael Scoff.
Yes. Item B6 is capital update on the project updates for the city projects.
Well, we just spent a little bit of time on a couple other ones, but I do want to mention two that have been sitting at the bottom of my report for the last several months. One of them is the electrification project. Mr. Witt and our staff have been out, and as of this afternoon, I believe, the one panel that was actually unsafe previously has now officially been replaced prior to May Days. I would like to thank Mr. Witt for his contributions on that.
It is hot and ready to go.
Fantastic. I saw PSO out there making that connection earlier this afternoon. I know Mr. Blanchard and his crew have spent a good amount of time out there. Thank you to them for all of that. The remainder of the project is going to continue following the anticipated equipment arrival from Locke for all of the things that we ordered that were supposed to be in April that are going to be here on June the 18th. So after the next council meeting, we made a change on it so that we could make that one that was unsafe work for this year, and then we'll get the rest of them done this summer. Then the other one is I requested an antenna quote, a revised antenna quote from Bearcom for 3 antennas on January the 30th. I received that amended quote on May the 11th, yesterday. I haven't even had the opportunity to really review it to make sure that we're in good shape with it and what we would need to do to finish that acquisition. There have been some communication issues that have come up, and if you've got questions about that, Chief Largent knows more about that than I do, but he's working to verify exactly where that source is, what's creating that problem, if it is the new repeater, or if it's just a timing coincidence thing. That process remains ongoing, and but hopefully by next council meeting, we'll have an answer on whether or not we're good with that quote, and hopefully if it's good enough, we'll have it in, and at least the installation will be done, and then we've got hopefully the troubleshooting will be done as well. Any questions on any council-related capital projects at this time?
Again, thank Councilman Witt for all of his work, especially in working with all and making the area around the May Days a little safer this year.
Yeah, hopefully we won't have a panel burn up like it did last year. I think we had a main breaker burn up Friday. I changed it and I checked it Saturday and it was trying to burn up again. So this ought to fix that issue.
A bundle of good news.
This is the one that I relocated last year, that to access the panel, you had to get between the wood telephone pole and the building and stand on top of the gas meter to get to the electric panel.
Across the street from the historic courthouse, yeah.
Across from Senior Center. So,
Now you can go see a brand-new pedestal and some bollards. It looks nice, it's professional, it's painted, and that will be what the other ones look like when they're installed.
and Marty's guys told me they'll come out and do a cold patch on the stuff in the ground tomorrow, so that ought to fix that up. I want to say thank you for his guys for helping assist in all this too.
Great. All right, item B7 is update on the GMC. I would like, I'm pleased to be able to announce that as of this morning, Ms. Scott and I was at the title company and abstract company, and we signed the contract, and GMC is the proud owner of 10 brand-new acres of land on County Line Road. We're now we can, I was joking at the abstract, but I want to go out there tomorrow and take my shovel and turn some dirt, just to say we turned dirt. But, you know, we're making some moves and some progress toward the installation of our new water storage facility and booster pumps that will make a major impact on the water supply availability and pressure here in the city. So, have our GMC meeting next week. B8 is an update from Councilor Shore on their Central Business District.
Had Main Street Day at the Capitol on the 4th. Been a really nice turnout. We saw some of our district representatives. We saw our district senator. Just kind of shared what, we had the videos, the combined videos between what the tourism board does and what Beta uses to promote Blanchard, and somebody works the magic in City Hall and combined those two videos together, and it ran the whole time. We were the only one with digital out there. It was kind of nice, because some of those main streets are getting a lot of Route 66 funding, so they had a lot of money to spend, and we're the only ones that had digital. It was nice. But it allowed us to say, here's all the things that we're doing, here's the ways that we're attempting to grow, and have some conversations with people who can actually vote on things, and say, here's what we still need. And so we had some of those conversations. And outside of that, we didn't have a meeting this month, so that's been our activity.
Great exposure for the city and also for all right, item B9 is discussion and action, possible action on the adoption of Resolution 2026-93CC, which is to approve the purchase of a Commander 1 siren operating system. Chief Sergeant, if you want to enlighten us.
Basically, I want to bring us out of the 1990s into the current century.
Are we that far along?
Well, so currently to activate the sirens, we have 3 or 4 handheld radios that we have to manually activate when a tornado warning is issued for our area. That involves me. I continuously watch the weather. Even if we buy this, that's not going to change. But we have to know that a polygon is put on our area, and then we go outside and manually activate it. We have issues activating the northern sirens from down here. The best place, actually at my house or at Matador's, so luckily, that general area with the handheld power, we can hit the northern sirens fairly easy. If we're down here, it's a 50-50 on whether we hit the one on 70th. This system is a computer system, web-based. When the National Weather Service puts the polygon down and sends out the tornado warning, it will automatically activate them from a mobile radio, because our system is based on radio waves. If we upgrade our sirens, we'll be able to have monitoring of them. Our current controllers only receive, they don't transmit back. This system allows for that future upgrade. It also allows for expansion. We can have as many sirens on our system as we want. We can geo-fence different areas. So like the sirens up north, if the polygon hits up north, it doesn't sound the sirens in town, and vice versa. Because we don't have any choice on how many we operate. You know, when we send out that radio wave, it activates all of them. Theoretically, I don't ever say 100%. So
these antiquated or older sirens are compatible with this, or has a
each siren has a radio in them, and they receive the transmission from the handhelds. They would receive the transmission from the mobile radio that's connected to the activation system, and that's what sets it off. The funds would come out of the storm siren fund for the initial purchase, and then we would budget in, I guess, into the fire department budget for I think it's $920,000 $480 or something, I can't remember. Right?
420?
But, yeah, that's an annual subscription for the web-based system. So,
there's enough in that fund to make the initial purchase?
and we're going to want to put it somewhere that we guarantee connection, radio transmission to all the sirens, and that would have a generator. So station 1 or 2 looks like the probability.
I make a motion we do this.
Brandon Alley,
Yes.
Ben Witt,
Yes, ma'am.
Christina Short. Yes. Chuck Kemper,
Yes.
and Michael Scoff.
Yes. All right. The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda, and we have on items 1 through 7. As before, does anyone have anything out for discussion? Seeing that there is none, I would entertain a motion to.
So moved.
Second.
Ben Witt, Brandon Allen,
Yes.
Christina Short,
Yes.
Chuck Kemper,
Yes.
and Michael Scoff.
Yes. Item D, no items were removed, so item E is public comments. We have someone here that was going to the West Council. If you'd like to, if you'll come on up to the podium and give Ms. Short your name and address.
1214 Choctaw Trail.
Okay.
So I came up in January and talked about the speeding. It's just a horrible problem in Timber Oaks on Choctaw Trail. I think it was January. We moved the speed limit signs more interior to the neighborhood. It didn't do anything. I mean, like nothing. So I reached out to Ms. Scott maybe last week or something like that, and she said, listen, if you'll go to your neighbors with a petition and talk about this problem to them and get them to sign one, it will probably hold more weight with the city council. So I've done that. On Choctaw Trail directly, some of the side streets are not Choctaw addresses, but along Choctaw Trail, there's 25 homes. I've got 17 of 25 homes to sign on to this for something like speed bumps, or I know they said we can't do speed bumps. There's something to create a permanent solution to this problem. Everybody I've talked to, they've either got dogs or kids or grandkids, and they'll say it's a major problem, and it's not. I don't believe it's from the residents. I think it's through traffic. So I'm asking for stop signs if we can. Something, I'm not a city planner. I don't know what the permanent solution is. But I'll say I work in my yard frequently. I'm an outside kind of guy, and just people fly through there. They put the speed limit sign right in front of my house, and I'll see people's eyes cut to it as they're doing 35 or 40 in this 15-mile-an-hour zone. So I've got some copies of this petition if you guys would like to see it. But I'm just hoping we could get something addressed to this problem.
Probably the recommended thing, if you're ready to turn that in, I would suggest you turn it into Ms. Scott tonight, and we can put it on the agenda to
Perfect.
have that looked at in the meantime.
Mail to me is the complete.
Well, I don't know how many signatures were on there then. I've got 17 out of 25. I've got a bunch of, I think they're very senior folks that are early risers or just don't come to the door. There's a lot of solicitors in the neighborhood, and so I had a clipboard initially and people weren't coming, so I used the clipboard. But you want me to give that to you now?
Yes.
You want the original or the copy?
You know what? Digital would be best, probably.
Perfect. I'll get that to you. All right. Hey, thank you so much for your time. I sure appreciate you listening to me. You'll have a good evening.
Thank you. Comments that we don't have signed up. Any council or staff comments?
I do, but I'll go last if anybody else wants to go. Okay, I'll go first. I would like a discussion, if we can, have added to next month's agenda. I know it's pretty busy, and I'm not anti-food truck, but I do think we need to come up and find out what we can do as a city to help protect our brick and mortars. I noticed last weekend, there was a food truck that sold like product parked 100 yards from 10 Arrows, Sunrise, Tex-Mex, and Greenleaf. To me, that doesn't make sense. There needs to be some separation there. We need to protect the business owners that have invested in the city and taken their chances by opening a business. So I'd like to have that discussion, if we can get that on the agenda.
I would say we would have to encourage the business owners that have those kinds of businesses, not to say we're closed on these 2 days, come park in our lots.
They were open on those days.
I don't mean them, but we have other restaurants.
That's why we have a discussion.
Yes, yeah.
I know that,
I had that question about the things, yeah.
I know one of the things that will have impact on our discussion on that is I know the state just approved a new food truck statute, and we have to look at that and how that applies. Coleman and I have had some discussions about some other options that would at least validate the legitimacy of the food trucks and that they're a benefit to Blanchard. Verify that and prove that. And that's, that kind of studied that, and it does not, maybe have some areas that we'd be able to address that possibly or not violate anything. We have to get our local senator and representatives up about maybe trying to see if we can get them to look at revising that statute at the state if it doesn't provide what we need. Chuck on that wholeheartedly. We need to support and protect our brick and mortar piece that they've invested in the city. Fair to them.
Couple set up on 55th Street. They would compete with anybody here downtown.
Okay.
My question was this, I know we have a couple of Airbnbs in town now. Are we getting a motel tax?
No. Airbnbs and RV parks were exempt from the hotel tax by ballot. Yes.
I know other cities who are suing to pursue.
When we wrote the ballot,
That was pre-me, so it was
The first time we had the ballot, it failed. It had all of that in there. And there was a lot of strong advocates against that.
I think it was rooms, you had to have at least 3 or 4 or more on that ballot measure to be qualified for the hotel tax. If it just 1 or 2.
It was in question as far as what it had capacity for. Kemper, did you also talk to me about the golf cart update?
the manager's working on that. We're getting some final language and thoughts together.
Cool deal. All right, anyone else have any comments?
Couple things. First, I'd like to jump on the, thank you, Ben Witt, bandwagon. That electrification project would not have reached the point that it is without Ben's expertise and hard work on that, as well as Bratcher's group. They spent a lot of time putting all the conduit in and getting that ready. So not going to have the full benefit of it this year at May Days, but we will have part of it done, and hopefully next year we'll be in completion. Which brings us to, hey, it's May Days this week, so come on out and have some fun. It's probably going to be a little warm out there this week, but
Hopefully no storms.
hopefully no storm. Hopefully we got that out of the way over the weekend. But it'll be a good time for all, so bring the family out and have some time, fun time with the community.
Speaking of downtown, it reminded me, have we heard anything on that T-Mobile grant yet?
Grant that I know we was kind of hoping and looking forward to was the stoplight grant for 10th and.
Haven't heard anything at this point.
When that's supposed to be awarded, or if it,
That usually comes out closer towards the July timeframe. With that said, that's a grant that's administered through ACOG. I can ask for some updates. I'm intending to go to a couple meetings at ACOG on Thursday, so I can ask.
other comments?
Anybody make graduation yesterday?
Saw a lot of posts, like it was perfect for it.
Great, you guys missed out on the lead valedictorian.
Son?
Daughter.
Daughter, yeah.
Mr. Downey, you have a newborn, right?
I do.
First?
Yes.
Have some 1 month, 3 month pictures already?
I've got a couple.
It is a very short trip between those pictures and high school graduation.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So 2 months ago, the city council directed us to take action on some surplus property. Ms. Scott has taken that project and has run with it, and we have bids on almost all of the stuff that was on the website. So
$1,800.
Love it. That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Great.
Now I have to collect the money.
I hear you, but they also don't get the property, and
That is correct.
that property is no longer, well, at some point, will no longer be sitting in a field.
That is correct. Hopefully by the end of next week, we'll have that cleaned up.
I love it.
Okay. No other staff or trustee comments. The item H is discussion of an executive session. I would entertain a motion to go in executive session. Second. Kemper.
Ben Witt, Brandon Alley,
Yes.
Christina Short, Chuck Kemper.
Yes.
And Michael Scow.
Yes, it's 7:17.
I was in Stillwater Saturday, graduation of my
I have one on my desk.
high school and college. And that's, you're correct. Very short trip.
Computer, just in case you